Music to me has never been visual. And the whole point of that show and that building is the visual side of it.
At 67, country music legend Vince Gill has finally opened up about the truth regarding Kris Kristofferson, one of the most influential songwriters of all time. For years, fans have speculated about their relationship, but now, Gill is setting the record straight. What did he reveal? Is it a shocking confession, a heartfelt tribute, or an untold secret that changes everything we thought we knew? Join us as we uncover Vince Gill's emotional words about Kristofferson and the impact he's had on his life and career. This revelation might just surprise you. Vince Gill didn't hesitate when asked about Kris Kristofferson. He had witnessed firsthand how Kristofferson changed songwriting forever. His words were deeper, and his storytelling unmatched. The vocabulary of his depth was unheard of here, Vince admitted. But Gill had a confession of his own. Back in 1997, he released a song without realizing something shocking. It had the exact same melody as Kristofferson's Help Me Make It Through the Night. When he finally realized it, he approached Kris with an apology. I told him, "Hey, I think I just completely lifted one of your songs." Kristofferson's response was pure humility. "I don't care," he said, completely unfazed. That was the kind of man he was, more concerned with the music than with ownership. But what struck Vince the most was the moment he shared with Kris at the Hall of Fame induction. Lisa, Kris's wife, let Vince take him into the crowd, hand in hand. By then, Kristofferson was lost in his own mind, a shadow of the man the world once knew. But to Vince, that moment was priceless. It was a neat memory for me to have. On the day Kris passed, Vince and his band were on the tour bus, doing what felt right, playing his songs, one after another. Me and Bobby McGee, For the Good Times, Help Me Make It Through the Night, the list went on. And that's when Vince admitted the real truth about Kristofferson's legacy. Would you call him a great singer? Not necessarily. But the songs were so great, nobody cared. They were just that good. Perhaps nothing summed up Kristofferson's fearless spirit more than the time he flew a helicopter straight to Johnny Cash's house just to pitch Sunday Morning Coming Down. Cash barely knew him, but the song was undeniable. When the network wanted Johnny to censor the line about being stoned, Kris wouldn't have it. And Johnny? He stood by him. Vince Gill knew the truth. Kristofferson's impact wasn't just about a voice or a hit song. It was about the raw, undeniable power of music. A legacy that will never fade. But who exactly was Kris Kristofferson and what legacy did he leave behind? Keep watching to find out. Kris Kristofferson wasn't just another country musician, he was a game changer. At a time when the industry was dominated by polished, radio-friendly Nashville sounds, he dared to take country music in a new direction. His raw, poetic songwriting introduced a level of depth and realism that the country had rarely seen before. With classics like Me and Bobby McGee, For the Good Times, Sunday Morning Comin' Down, and Help Me Make It Through the Night, Kristofferson cemented himself as one of the greatest songwriters of his generation. His words had a way of cutting through to the soul, capturing heartache, regret, and longing in a way that felt deeply personal yet universally relatable. Born in Brownsville, Texas, and raised in California, Kristofferson's journey to stardom was anything but conventional. A Rhodes Scholar, a military veteran, and briefly a janitor at Columbia Records, his path took many twists before he finally got his break in Nashville. He didn't just write songs, he lived them. And his authenticity resonated with both artists and audiences alike. His impact wasn't limited to music. Kristofferson's rugged charm and natural talent led him to Hollywood, where he built a successful acting career. From A Star Is Born to Heaven's Gate and the Blade trilogy, he brought a unique presence to the big screen, proving that his storytelling abilities weren't confined to just songwriting. As a member of the Highwaymen, alongside Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, and Waylon Jennings, he helped redefine the outlaw country movement, proving that music was meant to be real, raw, and unapologetically honest. He wasn't after fame, he was after truth. And that's exactly what made him a legend. Even after earning multiple Grammys, being inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, and receiving the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, Kristofferson remained humble. When he retired from performing in 2021, it wasn't with fanfare, it was simply a natural evolution. And when he gave his final performance in 2023, sharing the stage with Rosanne Cash to honor Willie Nelson, it was a fitting farewell to a career that had reshaped country music. On September 28, 2024, the world lost one of its greatest songwriters when Kristofferson passed away at 88. But legends don't truly die, they live on in the songs, the stories, and the hearts of those they've touched. And Kris Kristofferson's legacy will last forever. Kris Kristofferson left a legacy that will be forever etched in our hearts. So, how has Vince Gill matched this fit, and how did he get to be known as the legendary musician he is today? Stay tuned to find out. For Vince Gill, it was just another ordinary day. He was going about his usual routine, handling chores, contemplating his future, and reflecting on his long and successful solo career. With decades of experience under his belt, numerous awards to his name, and a devoted fan base, Vince had built something remarkable on his own. Yet, despite all his success, he couldn't shake the feeling that a change was coming. What he didn't know was that a single phone call was about to turn his entire world upside down. His phone rang unexpectedly. On the other end was Irving Azoff, the longtime manager of the Eagles. Vince answered, not sure what to expect, his heart pounding with uncertainty. What came next left him in complete shock. The Eagles wanted him to join the band. At first, Vince could hardly believe what he was hearing. The Eagles? It seemed too surreal to be true. After all, they weren't just any band, they were one of the most legendary groups in rock history. Their music had shaped generations, their harmonies were unmistakable, and their influence was undeniable. How could this be real? Vince even considered the possibility that it was a hoax, something this monumental just didn't happen out of the blue. But as he listened closely to Irving's serious tone, the reality of the situation began to sink in. This was no joke. The offer itself was overwhelming. The band wasn't simply asking him to join as a new member, they wanted him to step into the role once held by Glenn Frey, one of their founding members who had recently passed away. The weight of that request was immeasurable. Vince felt a flood of emotions, honor, disbelief, excitement, and an overwhelming sense of responsibility. He had spent his entire career carving out his own identity as a solo artist, making a name for himself in country and bluegrass music. Now, he was being asked to become part of something bigger than himself, to join a group whose music had been a defining soundtrack for millions. But as thrilled as he was by the opportunity, one question gnawed at him: why me? It was a question that he couldn't shake. Sure, he knew he had the musical ability. His vocal range and guitar skills naturally aligned with the Eagles' sound. But to fill the shoes of someone as irreplaceable as Glenn Frey? That felt like an impossible task. The idea of stepping into such a revered legacy was daunting. Then came the answer, and it took him by surprise. It wasn't just a matter of talent, this decision went much deeper than that. Eagles co-founder Don Henley made it clear, Vince wasn't just a possibility. He was the only person they had seriously considered for the role. Henley had great respect for Vince's musicianship, his character, and most importantly, his deep appreciation for the Eagles' legacy. This wasn't about simply replacing Glenn Frey, it was about honoring his memory and carrying the band's spirit forward. With that realization, Vince understood that this call wasn't just about filling a vacancy, it was an invitation to embark on a new chapter in his life. It was about stepping into a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, embracing the legacy of a band he had admired for years, and finding a way to blend his own artistry with a history much greater than himself. Still, the path ahead wouldn't be easy. There would be pressure, expectations, and inevitable comparisons. But Vince Gill knew one thing for certain: his life had just changed forever. Vince Gill's call sparked a journey of music, heartache, and healing. Vince Gill's music has always had a strong emotional appeal. His songs portray emotions that are often difficult to express in words, such as melancholy, love, regret, and hope. Music, for Vince, has never been about melodies or lyrics, it has always been a means for him to process life's most difficult moments. Every note and line depicts a step along his path, including his hardships, losses, and accomplishments. As a result, his music has offered comfort not just to himself, but also to many listeners who find solace in his words. On a deeply personal level, Vince's life has been defined by both remarkable success and significant struggles. He has experienced the highs of success while dealing with the unpleasant reality of personal relationships and health issues that threatened to wreck his career. The end of his first marriage was one of the most difficult times of his life. During his early career, Vince married Janice Oliver, a gifted musician and part of the Sweethearts of the Rodeo Band. Their common love of music first brought them together, but as Vince's notoriety grew, so did the strain on their relationship. Constant travel, large distances, and industry pressures took their toll. Despite their greatest attempts, their marriage failed, and they divorced in 1997. The end of his marriage was a deeply painful time for Vince. He struggled with the heartbreak while trying to remain a devoted father to his daughter, Jenny. The experience pushed him to confront his own flaws, and as always, he turned to music for comfort. During this time, his music highlighted themes of loss, reflection, and self-discovery, which resonated with people who had gone through similar struggles. But just when Vince thought his love was ended, life shocked him again. He discovered a second chance at happiness with Amy Grant, a Christian music icon. Their bond was strong, and what started as a friendship quickly became much more. They married in 2000, combining their families and starting a new life together. However, merging families is never easy. Vince had to deal with the issues of step-parenting, co-parenting, and adjusting to a new family dynamic. There were difficulties, growing pains, and seasons of uncertainty, but Amy was always a source of love and comfort. He often credits Mom with being his rock, guiding him through some of his most difficult periods. Together, they created a household full of love, religion, and music. Their partnership not only gave Vince a sense of security, but it also influenced his songwriting in new ways. His latter compositions centered on themes of thankfulness, healing, and joy, reflecting the tranquility he found in his second marriage. Fans were able to experience their amazing artistic synergy through duets such as House of Love, in which their vocals merged seamlessly, reflecting their strong bond. Throughout each setback and achievement, Vince Gill has done what he does best, put his heart and soul into his music. In exchange, his music has given people hope, comfort, and faith that, no matter what life throws at them, they will never be truly alone. Through pain and passion, Vince found purpose. But what came next? Let's find out. Vince Gill has faced numerous personal problems, but his struggles have not been limited to heartbreak and career losses. His health has also tested his fortitude. Vince has had to step away from the spotlight several times over the years due to serious medical problems, reminding fans that even the strongest voices need time to recover. Vince's most painful and disruptive health setback occurred in 2018, when he acquired serious kidney stones. What began as pain quickly escalated into a terrifying struggle, resulting in a serious kidney infection that required hospitalization. The timing of this health condition was particularly unfortunate, as it forced him to cancel many commitments, including a much-anticipated appearance at the CMA Awards. Fans were disappointed, but they were also concerned for his well-being. Then, just 2 years later, in 2020, Vince received another disturbing diagnosis, a congenital cardiac disease that affects blood flow from his lungs to the heart. For a musician whose life focused around singing, touring, and sharing his talent with the world, this news served as a devastating reminder of his own mortality. Vince took time off to focus on his recuperation, demonstrating his strength, tenacity, and desire to overcome any hurdle in his path. Despite significant health setbacks, Vince has never let hardship define him. Instead, he has remained a pillar of the country music community, demonstrating that his dedication to the industry goes far beyond his own personal achievements. His influence extends well into the heart of country music, where he has worked diligently to inspire and nurture the next generation of musicians. One of Vince's greatest loves has been to promote emerging musicians, offering them the same support and encouragement that helped him build his own career. Vince has shown that the future of country music is just as important to him as the past, whether through partnerships, personal mentorship, or simply using his platform to showcase emerging talent. His dedication to preserving country music history goes beyond coaching singers. Vince, a valued member of the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum's Board of Directors, has played an important part in preserving and commemorating the genre's history. He has collaborated on several initiatives to honor legendary musicians and their accomplishments, ensuring that their stories continue to inspire future generations. Despite personal challenges with his health and career, Vince Gill has remained a dominant figure in country music. His dedication to the profession, willingness to encourage others, and ability to turn difficulties into significant achievements have solidified his place among the industry's most admired figures. Vince has never stopped giving back, even during difficult times, because music is more than just a job for him, it is a lifelong commitment to something larger than himself. Despite his struggles, Vince persevered. But did doubts ever creep in? Keep watching to find out. Vince Gill has never been one to pursue stardom. While many singers strive for #1 singles, prizes, and global fame, Vince has always sang from the heart, allowing the music to speak for itself. At 67, he remains one of country music's most revered singers, and his craft only grows with age. Vince Gill was not always the beloved figure that he is now. Music was always present in his home in Norman, Oklahoma, where he was born. His father, a brilliant guitarist and banjo player, taught him about the beauty of stringed instruments, while his mother sang and played the harmonica. By the age of 5, Vince was plucking his grandmother's guitar with incredible assurance, unintentionally laying the groundwork for a lengthy quest. His childhood, however, was not without trials. When his parents divorced when he was a teenager, he turned to music for comfort. Instead of allowing sadness to consume him, Vince turned his emotions into melodies and lyrics, honing the raw storytelling skills that would characterize his career. By the time he graduated from high school, music had entirely replaced any traditional professional path. He set his sights on something bigger, leaving the familiarity of Oklahoma behind for the vast opportunities of Los Angeles in the late 1970s. The City of Angels was unlike anything he had known, far from the small-town bluegrass gatherings where he had once played. Here, the music scene was alive with rock clubs, neon lights, and an energy that both delighted and overwhelmed him. Vince's first taste of success came in Los Angeles, where he joined the country rock band Pure Prairie League. The group's combination of rock and country expanded his fan base, providing him more visibility and songwriting credits that hinted at his emerging talent for narrative. While he appreciated the attention, something didn't seem right. The longer he stayed, the more he recognized how tough it was to strike a balance between radio hits and creative integrity. Vince had a strong desire to return to his roots. Nashville, with its rich history of country and bluegrass music, appealed to him like an old friend. It wasn't only about making career choices, it was also about being honest with himself. He realized that if he wanted to make music that truly expressed his spirit, he needed to return home. Now, decades later, it appears that the journey is coming full circle. With more cancellations, health issues, and whispers of retirement, fans can't help but wonder if Vince Gill is finally departing the music industry that helped mold him. Is he simply preparing for the next step in his already illustrious career? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain, Vince Gill's legacy is already etched in the heart of country music forever. What are your thoughts on what Vince Gill had to say about Kris Kristofferson? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video, we hope you found it interesting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video shown on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity stories. See you there.